In a chilling act of what appears to be alleged vigilante justice, a Wyoming man allegedly used a bow and arrow to kill a man accused of being a pedophile. Following the shooting, the suspect then allegedly unloaded a BB gun into the victim's head post-mortem. After the killing, authorities say they received a message saying, quote, "One less pedophile now." But police say there's no proof that the man killed was even a predator. I'll break down this story for you. For Law and Crime News, I'm Kennedi Walker. According to the Sublette County Sheriff's Office, Rowan Littauer and 18-year-old Orion Schlesinger confronted 23-year-old Dakota Farley at his home in Pinedale, Wyoming. It was an attack the investigation revealed had allegedly been planned by the duo for weeks. On the night of the killing, they set their plan in motion. Court documents reveal Littauer allegedly gathered a hunting bow and a BB gun before the pair set off on foot, walking more than a mile to Dakota's home. When they arrived, Dakota was in his living room. Once inside, Littauer allegedly pulled back the bowstring, releasing a deadly arrow straight at Dakota. Later, Littauer allegedly told detectives that he shot Dakota in both the arm and head. The investigation revealed that Dakota was struck through the right arm and into his chest, causing his nearly instantaneous death. But the nightmare did not end there. Littauer then allegedly turned to the BB gun. The affidavit confirms that when police arrived at Dakota's home, they found him lying face down on the living room carpet. Dried blood surrounded Dakota's head, and detectives observed 8 circular-shaped wounds with BBs lodged into the left side of his skull. Since there was no blood in the wounds, investigators determined that Dakota must have been shot with the BB gun after he was dead. Schlesinger is also accused of stealing Dakota's .22 caliber revolver. Now, as for the motive behind the killing, court documents suggest it could be linked to alleged abuse, though those claims have not been substantiated. Text messages obtained by the Sublette County Sheriff's Office reveal that dispatch received a message stating Rowan shot Dakota with a bow and 2 arrows. The text also claimed that, quote, "There is one less pedophile now." However, the documents do not clarify why the suspects believed Dakota was an alleged pedophile. As authorities continued their investigation into the gruesome killing of Dakota, his family and friends remember him not for the tragic way his life ended, but for who he was. The 23-year-old's obituary described him as a passionate individual who was deeply loved by those who knew him. Dakota was a Christian, an avid basketball player and gamer, and loved the outdoors. Littauer is charged with first-degree murder, which is a felony punishable by death, life imprisonment without parole, or life in prison. Schlesinger is charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and felony theft, which could face the death penalty, life imprisonment without parole, or life imprisonment, plus an additional 10 years for the felony theft charge. And here to break down this story with me is law enforcement expert Aaron Benzik. Aaron, thank you for joining me today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So court documents indicate that this attack was planned weeks in advance. So from a law enforcement perspective, how does premeditation impact the severity of charges in a case like this?
You're going to see that play out with the length of sentence that someone's going to get. This isn't something where they're going to be able to argue self-defense or a crime of passion, and that factors into what their punishment is going to be.
And in cases like this, especially if they hadn't gone to law enforcement before as well, and they kind of just, took the law into their own hands, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Very, very concerning.
So using a bow and arrow is highly unusual in a homicide. What challenges does that present for investigators compared to a traditional firearm?
Well, thankfully in this particular case, they take it upon themselves to text and give up their actions that they did. Generally speaking, with someone introducing a bow and arrow, you lose some of the forensic stuff that you do in regards to tracking that to a specific bow, like you could a firearm. But generally, I think we see this play out exactly like it should. Someone who is going to be bringing a bow and arrow, a BB gun to commit a murder, they're doing the additional odd things. They're texting the police that, hey, here's what we just did, and letting us know about it.
And now the suspect allegedly claimed that the victim was a pedophile, though there is no evidence of that. No evidence has been presented to support that claim. How does law enforcement approach cases where suspects claim that they were seeking their own form of justice?
Yeah, I think that's interesting because you have to evaluate what's the truthfulness of that. Law enforcement in the affidavit has given us information that they haven't found any information to support that. And, that's going to be important because what this could be is it could mean there's another reason for this murder. Are we buying this story, or is there another reason that this murder happened? And this is what they think is going to help get them out of it. Are they going to use it to gain sympathy from the public, from online? Hey, we're acting as vigilantes. And just the way these guys are operating, are these the kind of people that we want establishing probable cause? I don't think so. Just look at this behavior. It's very concerning.
And hypothetically, if they find out that those allegations are true, which at this time they have not been proven, does that change anything?
Well, sure. It doesn't give a civilian a right to take the life of another when a crime such as that may have been committed. We're eliminating, because they brought the premeditation, we're eliminating any of those self-defense justifications that the law could help them with. And it's just, they have nothing to back themselves up.
And, police did note that the BB gun wounds were post-mortem. What does that tell investigators about the suspect's mindset?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is another alarming incident. We'll look at wounds and we're able to see that they're post-mortem because the heart stopped. There's no more blood flow going through the body, and you don't see blood in those particular wounds, is what the affidavit shares with us that investigators did find. So you have somebody of the mindset to use a bow and arrow to put someone down, and then now we're bringing a BB gun. That's not causing the death of another directly. That's someone who's already dead, and they're, in a sick and twisted way, they're abusing that corpse.
Now, there are two suspects in this case, Rowan and Orion. Although the second suspect, Orion, did not kill the victim himself, he was still charged. Can you explain why that is?
Sure. It's going to be law of parties. When you agree to participate in a felony criminal offense together, you may not be the person that pulled the trigger, but you're going to be charged equally for those same acts that you guys did as a party together. And some of that, I think the affidavit shares that our second subject stole a firearm from the location. So he committed another felony offense likely in that act. So he is participating in a murder and the commission of other possible felonious acts during that act. And that absolutely gets him connected in the exact same way.
So let's jump to sentencing, potential sentencing. Given what we know about this case, what type of potential sentences could the suspects be facing?
I'm not sure directly with Wyoming what their max is and what they're going to go for, but they have a lot of things going against them. And I think that max would be looked at. You've got premeditation to take the life of another. You have no lawful justification to be taking that life. The way that the life was taken is of such an extreme depravity that speaks to the mindset of these guys that they're not okay being out in the public. The community is not safe with these people being out there. And so I think Wyoming law enforcement and the Wyoming judicial system will be pretty serious with these charges.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron. This is definitely a case and a story that we will be following closely.
Thanks, Kennedy. Have a good afternoon.
Littauer is also charged with mutilation of a dead human body, which carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, or both. Both suspects are scheduled for preliminary hearings this week. For Law and Crime, I'm Kennedi Walker.